Hello and welcome to episode 73 of Out of State DMing. I'm your host, lluksblackheart, and joining me today is my co-host, Burger.
Sup, fuckers.
The last week we left off on the anti-magic field. Today we'll be starting with antipathy. Antipathy is an enchantment, compulsion, mind affecting effect. Level 9 druid spell, level 8 wizard sorcery spell. Components: verbal, semantic, material / divine focus. Casting time 1 hour. Range close. Target one location up to 10 cubic feet / level or one object. Duration 2 hours a level. Saving throw will partial. Spell resistance, yes. Description: you can you can cause an object or location to emit magical vibrations that repel either a specific kind of intelligent creature or creatures of a particular alignment, as defined by you. The kind of creature to be affected must be named specifically. For example, red dragons, hill giants, rare rats, denizens, cloakers, or vampires. A creature subtype such as goblinoid is not specific enough, which pretty much means you can't say undead or humanoid. It has to be a specific type of creature. So if you're picking goblins, if you don't want goblinoids, you have to cast it multiple times because there's multiple types of goblins. There's normal goblins, bugbears, and one of my personal favorite, which my brain is now for some reason farting on them, hobgoblins. Those are the generic three that you can mostly encounter, but there's also a bigger family group of them because there's I think 10 other species of goblinoids, like frost goblins and monkey goblins. So you have to be extremely specific, not broad. Uh, the specific alignment to be repelled must be named, which means you pretty much have to pick chaotic evil, chaotic evil, or chaotic good, or lawful neutral, or neutral. So you can't just technically pick one alignment. It has to be pretty much, like I said, one of the chaotics or one of the lawfuls. You can't just pick all lawful creatures or all chaotic creatures. It has to be specific. Excuse me. Creatures of the designated kind or alignment feel an overwhelming urge to leave the area or to avoid the area or the affected item. A compulsory force forces them to abandon the area or item, shunning it and never willingly returning to it while the spell is in effect. Creatures that make a successful saving throw can stay in the area or touch the item, but feels uncomfortable doing so. This distracting discomfort reduces the creature's dexterity score by 4 points, which pretty much means -2 to reflex saving throws, all dex-based skills, ranged attacks, and technically your AC. Indemnity counters and dispels sympathy. Arcane material component, a lump of alum soaked in vinegar.
It's a very specific item.
Yeah, probably said this before, and I'll say it again. There's a lot of spells out there that the material component makes you stop and think a bit because, that's oddly specific. Because there is a lot of just really weird items out there for some of the magic magical components, and there's a good chance that based on where you're at in the game world, you may not be able to get them to your opponent for the spell. There's a lump of alum. You can't really just get it everywhere, so it's probably going to be an expensive item unless the DM determines that it's under a gold piece, then you don't care if you have the specific feat for it. But it's also a high level spell because it's a ninth level druid spell and a 8th level sorcerer wizard spell, so you have to be pretty high level to get it. So there's a good chance that you have the money, you don't care, you can special order it. But what this spell in effect does, just like I said, it's a I don't want this type of thing messing with this item or in this area. So if you are in an area that you know has intelligent creatures, and it does specifically state intelligent, so unintelligent creatures are unaffected by it, and it does affect intelligent undead because it specifically states vampires. So this is also a very powerful spell because normally undead aren't affected by mind affecting effects. So
Right.
here's
So
a
basically, if you put this holy crucifix in the middle of a land to try to stave off the undead, and then you cast the spell, it's like, hey, I don't want anybody touching that.
but because it specifically if you're going after a creature type, you can specifically go, there's vampires here. I don't want these vampires, affecting this area. So you choose vampires. They do get a will saving throw to resist it. But if they
Right.
fail, they just leave the area or just stay out of it. If they pass, they get a -4 to dexterity, therefore making them easy to fight because, well, they're going to take a -2 penalty to AC, all stealth checks, and to range combat. So it's going to be a disadvantage for the vampires.
Right. So it's just a giant fuck you, is basically what it is.
Pretty much, it's a big middle finger. Finger. Um,
Hey, I don't like that you can do that. Well, we're gonna make sure you can't now.
Bam. So it's a very potent, powerful spell. Spell for, like I said, 2 counts. 1, it's level. 2, because it can infect intelligent undead, which makes this spell extremely unique and extremely powerful because generally any undead are automatically immune to mind affecting effects. But this is my no square. Don't come in my no square.
That's not what you said yesterday.
If you have any questions about the spell Antipathy, please leave a comment. The next spell is Anti-Plant Shell. Abjuration, 4th level druid spell. Components are Verbal Semantic Divine Focus. Casting time 1 action, range 10 feet, area 10-foot radius emanated centered on you. So even though it says range 10, you can't drop it 10 feet away. It's just 10 feet around you. Duration 10 minutes at level. Saving throw none. Spell resistance, yes. Anti-plant shell creates an invisible mobile barrier that keeps all creatures within the shell protected from attacks by plant creatures or animated plants, as well as with many abjuration spells, forcing the barrier against creatures that the spell keeps at bay, strains, and collapse the field. So this is a pretty decent spell, but just like it says, if you're trying to push through a group of, let's say, shambling mounts, because you're forcing the barrier against them, it collapses. So you literally have to still go around them, but it means they can't get within that barrier to do you harm. So it is still, just like any barriers, restricted in that specific sense.
Hooray! They made the world's most useless shield.
Well, I wouldn't say it's useless. They put that stuff in
Okay.
there to stop people from, hey, I want to shove this thing off this cliff.
Yeah, I understand that and I get that. Here's the thing. If I'm surrounded by plant creatures and I want to save myself from said plant creatures, I'm now stuck in the middle of plant creatures,
It,
and
yeah,
we can't touch each other.
I don't think they really took that into account with such abjuration fields like this, because they, like you pointed out, if you're surrounded and you're trying to protect yourself and get away, you can't get away because the field is stopping you from getting away.
Yeah, it was that was not a very well thought out spell.
Well, it's not
Because
the only
that would
spell that has
that's
that
that's the
keywords in it.
no, I know, I get that, but that type of spell in general. Okay, let me
That
rephrase that.
family of
That type of spell
spells.
in general is that would be like the type of spell I would take as a last resort kind of thing, and then I'm just stuck there in the middle of them, and I'm surrounded, and we can't do anything to each other. But at the same time, I can't fucking do anything.
You have to rely on any range spells you may or may have to get yourself out of the
Right, but
situation. But the point still
my point
stands.
would
You're
be is
stuck.
right, right. It's not like I could just cast this spell, they part away, and I walk out the group. I'm now stuck sitting there, and we're all just. It's like, okay, well, now this is a war of attrition. Who's gonna die first?
Pretty much. Massive war of nutrition, massive shenanigans, because it does end up going down to who's going to actually buckle first.
Right.
And it does truly, truly hinder a lot of things because of it.
Yeah, that is one of that family of spells is one of those family of spells that it looks great on paper. It is not very practical.
Yeah, it does look great on paper. And I'm not even going to remotely try to argue that. Because, like I said, there's people out there that will probably try to argue it, and my thing is, please don't.
Yeah, my thing here would be um if you intend to have that spell or that family of spells, make sure you have a scroll or the ability to teleport. Because otherwise, you have officially put yourself into a stalemate. And unless you know you could kill everything with the spell slots you have remaining or the ranged weapon that's in your back pocket, you're fucked. You might as well just drop it and let them kill you, because that's your only other option.
Yeah, because trying to fight at that point is almost mute if you don't have a backup. Because this spell is technically used to keep plant creatures at a bay long enough for you to do something else. Yeah. Uh,
Again, it's a family of spells. It's a great on paper. It's a great concept. It's a great concept. I would love it if the stipulation was it would just make them like walk away from you, not so much like, you shove them away. Like, hey, it's gonna make them to where they're gonna like not, it's gonna make them less aggressive type of thing. To where, you can actually walk out of that situation. But yeah, no.
yeah, that's. I'm not gonna lie. That's not the reason why people don't take this spell. A lot of people consider it a niche spell, so they just don't take it because they don't want a niche spell.
I mean, to a point, I see it.
Yeah,
I would agree. It is kind of niche. Again, only because its drawbacks are just its drawbacks are it's a 50-50 split. It has just as many drawbacks as it has benefits. It's a crazy great spell family.
yeah, it's just
Insanely good.
the problem of
But right, like it's one of those things, hey, I'm sleeping in the middle of the woods at night. Let me put this around me so I don't get attacked by woodland creatures. Great. They're not going to fuck with you. Now, you're surrounded by those creatures. The spell is still up. You're looking around going, okay, I don't have a teleport spell. And I don't know if I have anything that can actually do any damage to them. Well, shit, now I'm stuck.
Yeah, it's definitely a I made an oopsie, and
And
now
that's where,
I'm
if you're a sorcerer, it's time to, either drop it or hit him with that rhythm with the tism and be like, I challenge the one closest to me to a staring contest. If I win, then I get to walk out of here without anybody harming me. Joke's on you, you're fighting a tree and he don't fucking blink.
yeah, tree. It doesn't need to blink. It just sits there staring deep into your soul. Who blinks first? You, because it can hold its eyes open for days without blinking. It doesn't have the
Yeah, yeah.
same
Your
body
hope,
functions you do.
yeah, your hope at that point is you have a pocket dagger in really good accuracy.
Or someone has a bag of like dust or dirt or something to just go, you blanked.
Pocket sand.
But then that technically counts as cheating.
It's only cheating if you get caught.
Exactly. Um, but if you have any questions about anti-plant shell, please leave a comment. The next spell I actually like Arcane Eye. Divination Scrying. Level 4 Sorcerer Wizard spell. Components verbal semantic material. Casting time 10 minutes. Range unlimited. Effect magical sensor. Duration 1 minute per level. Saving throw none. Spell resistance none. You create an invisible magical sensor that sends you visual information. You can create an arcane eye at any point you can see, but it can't. But it can then travel outside your line of sight without hindrance. An arcane eye travels at 30 feet per round, 300 feet per minute. If viewing an area ahead, as a human would, primarily looking at the floor or 10 feet per round, 100 feet per minute. If examining the ceiling and walls as well as the floor ahead, it sees exactly as you would see if you were there. The eye can travel in any direction as long as the spell lasts. Solid barriers block its passage, but it can pass through a hole or space as small as 1 inch in diameter. The eye can't enter another plane of existence, even through a gate or similar magical portal. You must concentrate to use an arcane eye. If you do not concentrate, the eye is inert until you again concentrate. Material component a bit of bat fur. So, this is, like I said, it's one of my favorite spells, and it is literally a I'm going to cast it and scout spell. Yes, you're sitting there focusing. Yes, to a certain degree, if someone or something comes along, they can ruin your entire day and curb stomp you because you're not focused on them because you're concentrating. So therefore, you have particular problems. But the spell is still really, really great because it's an invisible force. Unless they have a means of a true seeing or seeing visible, they're not going to see the eye because it's not an actual thing. Certain other senses don't really can't really detect it. So technically, because it's not a living creature, you don't have to worry about a dragon automatically sensing it or anything like that because, well, it's not a living thing. They have to use other senses to pick it up. So you can
So what I
technically,
heard was this thing is a rogue and a ranger's wet dream.
yes, except that it's something that you have to be a arcanist to cast.
Listen, I didn't say that they can use it. I just said it's a wet dream for them.
Yeah, because you can literally, excuse me, avoid lots and lots of shenanigans simply because you're not at any risk. creatures around you aren't really at risk because they're not in any real danger. That's one of the reasons why I do actually really like this spell, because again, you're not in danger, your friends aren't in danger. You can sit there, have fun, inform the party of anything and everything around them to an extreme point. So anyone who dishes a spell either A, hasn't read the spell, or B, has no idea what the hell they're talking about. Because it's still a really great spell. There's been multiple times in my career as a DM and as a player where I would use this spell, and people are like, "You're wasting our time." It's like, it's a tiny little eye. I'm literally traveling ahead to scout. Is there monsters there? I know, you don't, because I have the eye. Is there a bad guy waiting for us? Is going that direction really the direction we want to go? Oh, you want to go have this meeting here, but you have to do it alone, and there's no real way to make sure that we can get to you if something bad happens? Well, I have a way. I'll use his eye to spy on you. It's invisible. He can't see it. So if you get endangered, guess what? It's a 4th level wizard spell. I have access to teleportation by that point, so I'm just going to teleport the party in to save you, because I'm viewing the area already. It is definitely one of those spells that when the party members get a magical item for it, and or brain partially stopped working. When they get something for it, they normally put it off until you describe the benefits. Because, like I said, a lot of people, for some unintelligible reason, just really hate on this spell. And there's, like I said, there's no good reason for it. Because even the bigger versions of the spell, because there is better versions of the spell, also gets hate, and it's unjustified hate. This is a really good freaking spell. But if you have any questions about Arcane Eye, please leave a comment.
So can I use it to spy on the fair maiden in the bathroom?
If you're going to be a pervert, yes.
Yeah.
It's a pervert's wet dream.
Yeah.
Okay, the next spell, it's also a really good spell that people either use for a few sessions and then forget they have. Arcane Lock. Abjuration. Level 2 Sorcerer Wizard spell. Components: verbal semantic material. Casting time: 1 standard action. Range: touch target. Door, chest, portal touched. Up to 30 square feet a level in size, which means it can affect, off the get-go, pretty much any normal door or chest or portal. To here's something that a Taurus can walk through, or can lock it, so it has to break through instead. Duration: permanent. Yes, a permanent 2nd level spell. Saving throw: none. Spell resistance: none. Description: an arcane lock spell cast upon a door, chest, or portal magically locks it. You can freely pass your own arcane lock without affecting it. Otherwise, a door or object secured with this spell cannot be opened. Can be opened only by breaking in or with a successful dispel magic or knock spell. Add 10 to the normal DC to break open a door or portal affected by the spell. Knock spell does not remove an arcane lock. It only suppresses the effect for 10 minutes. Material component: gold dust worth 25 gold pieces. So this is the pure definition of I really, really don't want any member of the party to go in this direction without having to, well, in layman's terms, break open or utilize extra means to go through it. It's also a I want to secure an area in a dungeon so the party feels safe. Arcane lock the door. You can open the door because it
Now,
states you can. Go ahead.
my question would be, would that work on like say a gate?
Yes.
Because a gate would still technically be a door, correct?
Yes. So city gates, farm gates, anything. It is technically still up to the DM's discretion, but a gate technically counts as a door in multiple senses. Even if it's just like a fence gate, it still technically can be labeled as a door and or some sort of portal because you have to open this to go through it. So if you didn't like the fact that the farmer made you sleep in the barn, you can cast it on the gates to his field. So now he has to remove the gate and replace it, or just break it in order to be able to gain access to his field, his fields. Yes, that has happened in several games I've ran where people are that petty because they want to sleep in the master bedroom of the barn, of the farmer's house, even though he only has one bed and his pregnant wife needs to sleep in it because she can't sleep on the floor because it's a pregnant woman. Party. Fine, we'll sleep in the barn. As they leave, arcane lock the barn doors. Arcane lock the house. Arcane lock the gate to the fence.
All right, let's be fair here. That is definitely some type of shit I would do, but it would definitely not be because I couldn't sleep in the bed. It would definitely be because I couldn't sleep with the wife.
Well, and see, going, well, since I can't sleep with the wife, I'm going to torment them both. They're locked in their house, they can't gain access to the barn, and they can't gain access to their field because I couldn't sleep with his wife. Yeah, so, is it still petty? Yeah. But it's something like, okay, you couldn't get, okay, you're a horn dog and you couldn't get some. Versus, I'm a self-centered douchebag that wanted a pregnant woman to sleep on the floor, or using terms, well, she can sleep on the hay. It's not bad for her. It's like, it's a pregnant woman. Dude. Have some decency. Okay, now I'm arcane locking everything. The entire rest of the party, including the paladin, not having a problem with the fact that it's like, you're now technically ruining their livelihood because they have to either fully remove and or break things that they have to then spend money to replace because you slept in hay.
Okay, so out of curiosity, what could be classified as a door? Like,
Uh,
can we assume that even technically a lid that with hinges would be considered a door?
well, because it works on doors, chests, and portals, you can technically assume anything that technically has some form of hinges on it, the spell can work. So
I have
a
found my. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing to be petty
so
now.
like the cookie jar doesn't have hinges unless it's a weird one that has hinges. So no, you
No, no,
can't
no, no, no,
deflect.
no. You're missing the point. Um, arcane locking the toilet seat.
You're a
Go ahead, tell me I'm wrong.
well, like I said, it is technically DM's discretion. So if a DM doesn't have a problem with it, then technically possible. You giant ass.
So
I think
I
the
know what I'm doing in my
only
next
I think
session.
the only actual limitation is it has to be a toilet seat. Does not all toilets have the actual fully shut lid. There's a bunch that have this toilet seat that goes up and down, but not the lid. So the thing would be, does it have the toilet seat with the lid or just the normal toilet seat? If it has a lid, technically, yes, because it technically counts. If it doesn't, I would have to say no. But you could also arcane lock the bathroom door.
Ah, yes, I have locked you out of ye old shitter.
And since in the games where this spell would exist, um, it would be, hey, you know that outhouse everyone likes using outside this inn where the bartender refused to give us free rooms? Yeah, arcane lock. If you have any questions about the spell arcane lock, please leave a comment. The next spell is arcane mark. Universal. It's a 0 level sorcerer wizard spell. Components: verbal semantic. Casting time 1 standard action. Range 0. Affects 1 personal rune or mark, all of which must fit within 1 square foot. So pretty much, boom. So it can be either really small or up to a 1 square foot. Duration permanent. Saving throw none. Spell resistance none. Description: this spell allows you to inscribe your personal rune or mark, which can consist of no more than 6 characters. The writing can be visible or invisible. An arcane mark spell enables you to etch the runes upon any substance, even stone or metal, without harming the material upon which it is placed. If an invisible mark is made, a detect magic spell causes it to glow and be visible, though not necessarily understandable. Seeing visibility, true seeing, a gem of seeing, or a robe of eyes likewise allows the user to see an invisible arcane mark. A read spell, or read magic spell, reveals the words, if any. The mark cannot be dispelled, but it can be removed by casting, by the caster or by an erase spell. If an arcane mark is placed on a living being, uh, normal wear gradually causes the effect to fade in about a month. So therefore, if you put it on a person a month later, you're going to have to do it again. Arcane Mark must be cast on an object prior to casting Dromir's instant summons on the same object. See the spell description for details on Dromir's instant summons. So this spell may not necessarily be a lot of people's favorite, because there is a lot of people that view this spell as, well, useless. Uh, but it is still a really good spell, nonetheless, because you can mark things, and it can be anything from weapons, armor, location. Does it generally, excuse me, lets you be able to make sure that everyone who needs to know knows that an object is yours, and or if you're doing like a location on a location, or just want some sort of product branding, warning signs, warning symbols. People who see it can go, hey, that means danger, or this person here wants a meeting, or hey, this person happens to be in this area. How can you tell? Because this mark is right there. A lot of powerful wizards use it to signify, well, their presence, whether or not they mean to, or they just don't
So what
care.
What I'm hearing is I can arcane mark some dick jokes around town.
As long as each word is no more than 6 characters in length, technically yes.
Fucking bet.
Because that's your limit. Each word has to be no more than 6 characters. The moment you breach 6 characters, you can't do it. And it can be as big as 1 foot long. That's as long as everything still fits with inside that particular parameter. You're golden. So yeah, everyone can to a certain degree have some fun and leeway with the spell. Uh,
Good.
good. If you have any questions about Arcane Mark, please leave a comment. The next spell is still a decent spell. Arcane Sight. Divination. 3rd level wizard sorcerer spell. Components are verbal semantic, casting time 1 standard action, range personal, target you, duration 1 minute a level. This spell makes your eyes glow blue and allows you to see magical auras within 120 feet of you. This effect is similar to that of Detect Magic Spell, but Arcane Sight does not require concentration and discerns auras located and powers more quickly. You know the location and power of all magic auras within your sight. An arcane aura depends on the spell's functioning level, or an item location level as noted in the description for Detect Magic Spell. If the item or creature bearing the auras are within line of sight, you can make a spellcraft skill check to determine the school of magic involved in each, which is a DC 15 plus spell level or DC 15 plus half the caster level for a non-spell effect. If you concentrate on a specific creature within 120 feet of you as a standard action, you can determine whether it has any spellcasting or spell-like abilities, whether they are arcane or divine. Spell-like abilities register as arcane. The spell strength of the most powerful spell or the spell-like ability of the creature currently has available for use. In some cases, Arcane Sight may give the deceptively low reading, or, for example, when you use it on a spellcaster who has used up most of his or her daily spell allotment. Arcane Sight can be made permanent with a permanency spell. So this spell is good because it not only works better than Detect Magic in more than one aspect, but it also can be seen farther, and it's generally just a better version. Because it is the grown-up version of Detect Magic. The only real thing is your eyes are now glowing blue. So it's a more, hey, he's doing something because his eyes are now glowing. So as long as you don't have a problem with people knowing that you're casting some sort of effect, you're all good. If you don't like the fact that there are people, people can tell that you are casting some sort of spell, well then don't use this spell then, because again it's pretty obvious that you're utilizing something. But nonetheless, it is still a really great spell. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they either are lying to you or have no idea what they're talking about. Because, again, really great spell. If you have any questions about Arcane Sight, please leave a comment. The next spell, Greater Arcane Sight, Divination, 7th level Sorcerer Wizard. This spell functions like Arcane Sight, except it allows you to automatically know which spells or magical effects are active upon any individual visual or creature you see. Greater Arcane Sight doesn't let you identify magical items. Unlike Arcane Sight, the spell does not cannot be made permanent with a permanency spell. So it lasts the same, and does all the same things, except it's immediate. Oh, I just identified that and identified that this, so it's technically better. It's just it can't be made permanent. So nonetheless, it's still a really great spell. But in essence, it works just like Arcane Sight. If you have any questions about Greater Arcane Sight, please leave a comment. The next spell people shit on: Astral Projection, Necromancy, 9th level Cleric, Traveler Domain, and Wizard Sorcery spell. So it is literally the highest tier of magic you can get before you go into Epic. Components: Verbal Semantic Material. Casting time 30 minutes. Range: touch. Targets you plus one additional willing creature touch per 2 caster levels. And since you're going to be at least probably like 18th level in order to cast this, that's you plus 9 people. Duration: see text. Saving throw: none. Spell resistance: yes. Description: by freeing your spirit from your physical body, this spell allows you to project an astral body onto another plane altogether. You can bring the astral forms of other willing creatures with you, provided that those subjects are linked in a circle with you at the time of the casting. At you at the time of the casting. Those fellow travelers are dependent upon you and must accompany you at all times. If something happens to you during the journey, your companions are stranded wherever you left them. You project your astral self onto the astral plane, leaving your physical body behind on the material plane in the state of suspended animation. The spell projects an astral copy of you and all you wear or carry onto the astral plane. Since the astral plane touches upon other planes, you can travel astrally to any of those other planes as you will. To enter one, you leave the astral plane, forming a new physical body and equipment on a plane of existence you have chosen to enter. While you are on the astral plane, your astral body is connected at all times to your physical body by a silvery cord. If the cord is broken, you are killed, astrally and physically. Luckily, very few things can destroy a silver cord. See the Dungeons Master Guide for more information. When a second body is formed on a different plane, the incorporeal silvery cord remains invisibly attached to the new body. If the second body or the astral form is slain, the cord simply returns to your body where it rests on the material plane, therefore reviving it from its state of suspended animation. Although astral projections are able to function on the astral plane, their actions affect only creatures existing on the astral plane. A physical body must be materialized on another plane. You and your companions may travel through the astral plane indefinitely. Your bodies simply wait behind in a state of suspended animation until you choose to return your spirit to them. The spell lasts until you desire to end it, or until it's terminated by some outside means, such as dispel magic cast upon either the physical body or the astral form, the breaking of the silver cord, or the destruction of your body back on the material plane, which kills you. Material components: a Janeth worth at least 1,000 gold pieces, plus a silver bar worth 5 gold pieces for each person to be affected. Which means this is a pretty expensive spell, even though by that point it's not going to be that expensive for you. Because the ability to get 1,000 plus 5 gold pieces per additional person shouldn't be that hard by that point, it still technically can be listed as a costly spell. Perks are you get to literally go have fun on other planes with not that many chances of you actually permanently dying because, well, like it said, unless someone cuts the silvery the silvery cord, the chances of you actually dying are quite low. Now, a thing to note, like it said, if you are traveling with your party and something happens to you or they get separated, they're stuck there. So you can technically, while you plan to or not, by accident or by design, trap their souls on another plane of existence. So you can get people to get real pissed off at you real quick. And I already know that because I've witnessed it happen. An entire group of players needing to do something on the astral plane, person using this spell, and then deciding that he's just going to leave. He literally just went to another plane of existence, leaving the entire party on the astral plane, having no idea that he left. All they know is that he's not there with them anymore. Therefore, pretty much just getting the entire party killed because they are now stuck on a plane they can't get home on unless something sends them back home. So you do have to be careful, and while you intend to or not, you can end up being kicked out of a party because you stupidly or intentionally screwed them with this spell. With the only thing of if you're not if you're able to cast 9th level spells, there's a good chance your entire team can cast 9th level spells, and if they don't have some sort of additional means to get themselves out of that situation via their own stupidity or lack of actual critically thinking, then it can be somewhat described as not necessarily your fault because they're, being stupid. Unless you intentionally do everything you can to screw them. Excuse me. Which, again, has happened and will happen. And it does suck. I'm not going to sugarcoat it or anything like that. This spell has ruined friendships. If you have any questions about astral projection, please leave a comment. The next spell is a underused spell unless the DM specifically says you need to go have this cast upon you and then put something there to actually enforce it needing. Atonement. It's an abjuration 5th level cleric druid spell. Components: verbal, semantic, material, focus, define focus, XP. Casting time 1 hour. Range: touch. Target: living creature touch. Duration: instantaneous. Saving throw: none. Spell resistance: yes. Description: this spell removes the burden of evil acts or misdeeds from the subject. The creature seeking atonement must be truly repentive and desirous of setting right its misdeeds. If the atoning creature committed the evil act unwillingly or under some form of compulsion, atonement operates normally at no cost to you. However, in the cases of creatures atoning for deliberate misdeeds and acts of knowing and willful nature, you must intercede with your deity, requiring you to spend 500 XP in order to expunge the subject's burden. Many casters first assign a subject of the sort a quest, which is it's a spell, or similar penance to determine whether the creature is truly con- uh, contrite before casting the atonement spell on its behalf. I hate some words. Atonement may be cast for one of several purposes, depending on the version selected. Reverse magical alignment changes. If a creature has had its alignment magically changed, Atonement returns its alignment to its original status at no cost in experience points. Restore class. A paladin who has lost their class features due to committing an evil act may have their paladinhood restored in the case by the spell. Restore cleric or druid spell power. A cleric or druid who has lost their ability to cast spells by incurring the anger of their deity may regain that ability by seeking atonement from another cleric of the same deity or another druid. If the transgressions were intentional, the casting cleric loses 500 XP for the incursion. If the transgression was unintentional, he does not lose XP. Redemption or temptation. You may cast a spell upon a creature of an opposing alignment in order to offer it a chance to change its alignment to match yours. The prospecting subject must be present for the entire casting process. Upon completion of the spell, the subject freely chooses whether it retains its original alignment or acquires to your offer. Acquisitions to your offer and changes to your alignment. No duress, compulsion, or magical influence can force the subject to take advantage of the opportunity afforded it if it is unwilling to abandon its old alignment. This use of the spell does not work on outsiders or any creature incapable of changing its alignment naturally. Though the spell description refers to evil acts, atonement can also be used on any creature that has performed acts against its alignment, whether the acts are evil, good, chaotic, or lawful. Note: normally, changing alignment is up to the player for PCs or the DM for NPCs. Thus, the use of attainment simply offers a believable way for a character to change his or her alignment drastically, suddenly, and definitively. Material component: burning incense. Focus: in addition to your holy symbol or normally divine focuses, you need a set of prayer beads, or for other prayer devices such as a prayer wheel or prayer book, worth at least 500 gold pieces. XP cost: when cast for the benefit of a creature whose guilt was a result of deliberate acts, the cost to you is 500 XP per passing. So this is a really great spell because it can, by its pure definition, any and all would be individuals who screw up can easily just fix their problems. And it's mainly used to make sure paladins and clerics and druids can get back on the good side of their gods. Because trust me when I say there's a lot of players out there that don't think before acting and have literally in more ways than one screwed themselves because they decided that what they were doing has no consequences and they just do something stupid. Uh, so this spell can be very problematic for those individuals. Uh, do you have any comments about this particular spell, Almighty Bacon?
No, no, I do not. Not on that one.
No comments. Um, if you have any questions about the spell Atonement, please leave a comment. Uh, the next spell does have quite a lot to it, so we're going to cover that next week because we only have a few minutes left. Do you have any ending comments about the spells we went over today, Almighty Bacon?
Piss you off in this campaign that we're going to be playing in.
Well, that all depends on what you do and whether or not you like my rebuttals.
Worry. You already know. When there's a will, there's a way.
Well, there's a way. There's a way. No, but we were able to cover some pretty decent spells today. Uh, so all those who are watching, thank you for it. On all those who see us, thank you for watching, and remember to like and subscribe. And we will see you next week for more spell. Oh, hi Nova. Now you join at the end. Oh, well, now you join. Now you comment at the end. But thank you for watching. We love you. We love all our fans. Isn't that right, Bacon?
Whatever you said, bud.
But we'll silent watcher. Um, but we will catch you next week as we discuss more spells.